still can't believe he's gone. The faithful packed St. Peter's Square Monday evening for the Rosary Prayer for the late Pope Francis. Earlier, church bells rang out, one for each of his 88 years of life, and the Vatican lowered flags to half-staff in his honor.
It's a moment of a bit of sadness and at the same time thankfulness and celebration of life.
Pope Francis's death comes less than a day after he surprised the faithful on Easter Sunday, greeting them with a message of peace. Just last month, the Pope was released from the hospital after a 5-week stay for double pneumonia.
I was sort of really shocked because I was here yesterday at Mass and I saw the Pope and he looked just so fragile.
The first Pope born in the Americas, Francis put migrants, the poor and the marginalized at the center of his 12-year papacy.
That is his greatest legacy. He showed us that, what is not essential when you're Pope is to be on a pedestal. What is essential is to be with the people.
Over the next few days, hundreds of thousands of mourners are expected to descend upon Vatican City to pay their respects as Pope Francis's body lies in state. Pope Francis's funeral has to be held within 6 days of his death, and then 15 to 20 days after his passing, cardinals from around the world will come to the Vatican to begin the process of selecting the next pope. In a break with tradition, Pope Francis will not be buried in St. Peter's Basilica behind me. Instead, he will be laid to rest at St. Mary Major. That's a 5th century church here in Rome, dedicated to the Virgin Mary. It's where the Pope often liked to pray. And in his last will and testament, Pope Francis said his tomb must be in the earth, simple, without any decoration, the only inscription, Franciscus. In Rome, I'm Tina Krause. Now back to you.
Here at home, leaders of the Roman Catholic Church in Hawaii are reflecting on Pope Francis's legacy.
Seeing the wavering commitment of Pope Francis for the people of God, especially when Pope Francis chose the name of Francis and being a servant to the poor, and how it has allowed me to look into my own ministry and to look out for those who are on the marginalized, especially for the poor.
In a statement, Bishop Larry Silva of the Diocese of Honolulu said, quote, "How blessed is Pope Francis to have died on this Easter week after dedicating his life and his papacy to proclaiming the Lord Jesus as alive and active in our world," end quote. A memorial mass is being planned for Monday, April 28th, with the time and location still to be determined. Meanwhile, Governor Josh Green has ordered all U.S. and Hawaii state flags be flown at half-staff at all state offices and agencies until the date of internment. And as the world grapples with the death of Pope Francis, we wanted to take a closer look at the thousands of years-old rituals that govern what happens after a pope dies and how Francis made changes last year to modernize the process. Melissa Matani has a closer look at the process.
Once the Pope dies, a senior Vatican official known as a camerlengo destroys the Pope's papal ring, which is his official seal and stamped on all documents. This is one of the very first things that is done in the aftermath of the Pope's death in order to prevent forgery. It happens even before his death is officially announced to the world. Then 9 days of national mourning begins in both Vatican City and Italy, in accordance with Roman tradition. During that time, the Pope's body lies in state to allow people to pay their respects. He is buried between the 4th and 6th days of mournings in line with the Vatican's constitution. Now, last year, Pope Francis approved a more simplified process for the papal funeral, in line with his view of his role as more of a servant of the Church than an important global official. Traditionally, the Pope is buried in the underground tombs of St. Peter's Basilica in nested coffins, one of cypress, one of zinc, and one of another wood, such as walnut, elm, or oak. This is done so that there is an airtight seal around the Pope's body and it allows for objects to be buried with him. However, Francis decided to only be buried in a single zinc-lined wooden coffin instead. Pope Francis also revealed last year that he would like to be buried at Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica in Rome. That church has a special connection for Francis and is where he goes to pray before and after every foreign trip. If his wishes are carried out, that will make him the first pope buried outside of the Vatican in more than 100 years.
And that's Melissa Matani reporting. In other news, the driver in the crash that killed a teenage girl earlier this month in Mililani has pleaded not guilty to negligent homicide. Natron Au'eluanaki appeared virtually in court today. On April 12, police say he was speeding and driving without a license when he lost control on Kamehameha Highway. The 15-year-old girl riding in his car was thrown from the vehicle and later died. The judge today confirmed his bail at $75,000 and approved a no-contact order with witnesses. His trial is set to start on June 23rd. Meanwhile, we're learning more about Au'eluanaki's past. He had been out on probation after he served time for a violent attack in the middle of Farrington Highway. He was found guilty of criminal property damage last year. Police say he jumped and stomped on the hood of an elderly woman's car after forcing her to come to a stop by standing in the roadway. HPD is looking for a driver involved in a fatal crash over the weekend in Kaneohe. At around 1:20 Saturday morning, a 33-year-old man was walking along Kahekili Highway near Haiku Road when he was hit. The driver left the scene without stopping to help. After the initial crash, another car did pull over to help, but that vehicle was rear-ended, causing the pedestrian to be hit again. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The 32-year-old passenger in the rear-end crash was seriously hurt and rushed to the hospital. This is the 24th traffic death on Oahu this year, compared to 10 at the same time last year. Maui residents can learn more about their rights as renters during a training in Kihei tonight. The Maui Housing Hui and Seoul Law Firm will host the free training at the Pro Arts Playhouse tonight beginning at 5. It's meant to help displaced residents forced into temporary rental situations after the 2023 wildfires. It'll go over the basics in Hawaii's landlord-tenant laws, including lease agreements, security deposit rules, and eviction procedures. Dinner and childcare will be provided.
Well, happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a great Easter weekend. Tomorrow and Wednesday are first alert weather days for the western half of the state. Right now, it's only for Kauai and Oahu, none of Maui County, and none of Hawaii Island. We're actually tracking another front that's going to get closer to us over the next couple of days, giving us a chance for some heavy rain and a couple of thunderstorms possible as well. Just taking a quick look at our first alert radar and satellite outside. Not much going on across the state right now. A few trade wind showers moving in, but really it is just very quiet out there. Very little green on the radar, but zooming out, we're watching this system. It's still forming far up to our northwest, and it's going to get closer to us as we're going forward into Tuesday and Wednesday. So walking you through our first alert futurecast, I'll give you a closer look hour by hour coming up in my full forecast in just a little bit. But as we're going into Tuesday evening, this is around 6 p.m., you start to see impacts over Kauai, and some of these showers even move as far eastward as Oahu. So some heavy rainfall over the western end of the state possible, mostly focused over the Garden Isle. I'll give you a full breakdown on this in my full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Drew. The National Weather Service hit pause on its translated weather alerts, meaning all weather notifications will only be issued in English until further notice. Maribel Gonzalez spoke with experts who say for many, this change could mean the difference between life and death.
Experts point to the fact that nearly 68 million people in the U.S. speak a language other than English at home, including 42 million Spanish speakers. This is according to 2019 census data. And without this service, that population could be in danger when disaster strikes.
I don't think anyone really prepared for it to be this high of water.
September 2024, Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina, causing power outages, collapsed roads, and catastrophic flooding.
Him and me are both from Florida, so we've seen a lot of hurricanes, but I've never seen anything like this.
Despite the National Weather Service issuing alerts, the disaster claimed the lives of 107 people in the state.
There was a big article just a few months before the floods there that rated Asheville one of the safest places to live in the United States from a climate change point of view. And then they suffered massive, devastating, costly floods that they're still cleaning up from.
Without weather warnings, experts say the death toll could have been higher.
Weather alerts save lives. mean, there's no question about that. If we know a hurricane is coming, if we know a tornado is coming, we can take shelter. We can be safe where we otherwise would be at peril.
But now the National Weather Service is only putting out alerts in English. The agency declined an interview, but sent a statement saying they paused the translation service, quote, due to a contract lapse.
We got a tornado!
It comes as experts warn of more extreme weather due to climate change.
The whole planet is affected, and that means no place is really exempt.
Arguing that access to weather alerts is vital.
It doesn't have to be an extreme event to be a matter of public health and safety.
Translated text on the National Weather Service website has now been disabled. Reporting in Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
Ahead on This Is Now, students at Florida State University returned to campus just days after gunmen opened fire, killing 2 people and injuring 6 others. Plus, how the Trump administration's policy changes are impacting the University of Hawaii, where you can get answers directly from UH's president in 2 minutes. A heartbroken community continues to heal after the deadly mass shooting at Florida State University. Students and staff are back on campus today to resume classes with only 1 week before finals. Mackenzie Laporte is on campus.
2 lives lost, 6 injured, and an entire community still grieving. FSU students are back here on campus to prepare for finals. Emotions are all over the place for many here on campus as students face the return to class.
Genuinely, it feels like they took the heart out of campus.
There's a lot of sadness and sorrow.
Alongside the countless memorials spread across FSU's campus are students, freshmen to seniors, left wondering if the campus needs more time to heal.
Being here today, first day back at school, even though it's not required, it just feels very empty. It doesn't really sit well. Going and sitting in my class was on edge the whole time. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
University President Richard McCullough gave students who cannot return options like remote learning, waiving all mandatory attendance policies, and the choice to request an incomplete grade. But many students say it's not enough.
How do you feel about classes starting today? It's insensitive. It feels like a slap in the face from our administration.
Police say Phoenix Eichner opened fire in the school's student union on Thursday, April 17th. Christian Maldonado, a senior at FSU, has one message for those listening as he reflects on his years as a proud Seminole.
FSU's community is phenomenal. and they're doing a lot for us. I mean, people are out here just spending their whole day offering hugs. There were some people earlier just holding cookies for anybody that walked by. I'm so glad that they're doing it, and this world is saying that, you know, you need to be kind, but it shouldn't take something of this magnitude for people to realize to be kind.
Here at home, happening today, UH President Wendy Hensel is hosting a forum regarding the ongoing federal policy changes from the Trump administration. We're told she'll be sharing the university's response to the changes and taking questions from the public. The forum is from 3 to 4 p.m. in the UH Manoa Campus Center ballroom. It will also be live streamed. For more information, go to our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. Hey, Drew.
Hey Ashley, stick around. Coming up after the break, we'll walk you through the first alert weather day tomorrow. Heavy rain and thunderstorms possible throughout Kauai and parts of Oahu. I'll give you the details after the break.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
Well, happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a great Easter weekend. We're tracking heavy rainfall and thunderstorms over the western end of the state as we're going forward into Tuesday and Wednesday. I want to walk you through what we're tracking in our First Alert forecast. Again, it is a First Alert weather day over Kauai and Oahu over the western end of the state. Right now, Maui County and Hawaii Island are not included. This includes some heavy rainfall and thunderstorms, but right now, it seems to be focused mostly over the Garden Isle. We could see some of the moisture, some of the instability move far enough eastward where it impacts the gathering place, but it seems to really just be focused over Kauai as we're going forward. Here's your First Alert weather pattern. I want to walk you through our First Alert futurecast. We're going to take this hour by hour going into around 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Tomorrow morning, afternoon, some trade wind showers. So not really trade wind showers, but pop-up showers. We'll be seeing lighter winds and southeasterly winds out there. We're going to go forward in time to Tuesday around 2 p.m. This is around when we start to see some of the impacts of the front moving in from the northwest. Around 7 p.m. it gets even closer to Kauai and starts to bring some heavy rainfall and potentially a few thunderstorms over near the Garden Isle. You'll notice some of this moisture does make it far enough eastward to where it's impacting Oahu. This will be around Wednesday around 2 a.m. so late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning is when we're going to be seeing the heaviest rainfall. Again, the focus right now looks to be over Kauai, but we can't rule out a few thunderstorms moving far enough eastward towards Oahu. Of course, over Maui County and Hawaii Island with the instability in the atmosphere, we could see some showers, maybe some pockets of heavy rainfall over the eastern end of the state, but it looks to be focused once again over Kauai. Just taking a look at our rainfall model totals, just going forward over the next 72 hours, you can see the difference. The heaviest rainfall over near Kauai, some areas receiving over an inch, around a half an inch over Oahu. So we're watching this very closely. Let's go through your island by island forecast for Tuesday over on Kauai. We've got scattered showers and thunderstorms. You can see that thunderstorm icon showing up over the leeward portions of the island, and over in Lihue, a better chance for some showers and heavy rainfall as well. Again, we are tracking some instability moving over the gathering place. 84 for a high temp in town tomorrow, 81 in Kaneohe, 81 in Kapolei. Of course, those areas that do see rainfall will be a little bit cooler out there. Maui County, scattered showers, partly sunny. Not as much rainfall over the eastern end of the state as the western end. Kahului around 85, 82 for a high temperature in Kihei, 84 in Kona. Moving over to the Hilo side, around 83, mostly sunny out there, and of course scattered showers and partly sunny conditions. Here's just a quick look at our surf and shoreline forecast. North-facing shores are dropping for this afternoon. In town around 2 to 4, but we do have the threat of some box jellies out there over the next couple of days. Luckily, by this weekend on Oahu south and west-facing shores, there's much less of a chance of running into one of those. Your first alert 7-day forecast Tuesday and Wednesday. First alert weather days, especially for Kauai and Oahu. And of course, conditions will improve as we go into Thursday and Friday.
Thank you, Drew. Well, in celebration of Earth Week, a major cleanup project is taking place this weekend around Magic Island. Casey Lund tells us how you can get involved when we come back.
Time for some good news now. Corgi dogs race head-to-head on Saturday in an annual Corgi Derby in Scotland. This year's winner was a 4-year-old Corgi named Juno. Juno was presented with a trophy, treats, and first launched in 2022 to mark Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. The Corgi Derby was created to celebrate the breed, which was the late monarch's favorite, according to the organizers. And the waters around Magic Island will get some much-needed TLC this weekend in honor of Earth Week.
Yeah, local dive shops and the Ocean Alliance Project are working to remove trash and protect coral reefs. Casey Lund has the details on how you can pitch in to do your part without even getting in the water.
Aloha and happy Earth Week. Earth Day, of course, tomorrow, April 22nd. This event happening at Magic Island, though, a special kind of self-organized event by a lot of folks in the dive community, other groups coming together to pull all kinds of debris and waste out of the water. But there's also a huge effort that has to happen on land. To talk a little bit more about what's happening Saturday, even though, again, Earth Day is the 22nd, this is on Saturday the 26th. Michelle Miller is with us, part of the Oahu Dive community. And then we've got Dylan Brown with us from Ocean Alliance Project. I want to start with you, Michelle. This is not the first time you folks have done this, done it in the past, but trying to build that momentum back, because as we've seen, just looking out here this morning along the rock wall, there's a constant need to clean our ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. So every year, for the last 2 years, we've come and used this area specifically because there's a lot of foot traffic. You see there's a lot of people out and about, surfers, divers, swimmers. So, and it's a good area to come out and just pick up. We've pulled a lot of crazy stuff out of the ocean. And so on Earth Day, we're just encouraging the community to get out, take action. Anybody can do something about it. We have a Boy Scout troop coming. We have different ocean organizations, dive shops, a lot of the big dive shops around the island. So it's always a good day to come out and clean up, but especially on Earth Day.
And you know, I've been with you folks for Dive for Life, kind of like the Relay for Life for folks in the dive community, raising money for people that need help. This is a really tight-knit community and welcoming. That's the other part about this. It's a good time down here.
It's a very good time. I think, you know, you never meet a stranger amongst divers and ocean lovers. You know, we can all bond over that. So yeah, I would encourage people just to come out and be a part of the fun, because it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. Yeah. And you feel good about yourself, like giving back, and it feels good to take care of the island.
Yeah, and speaking of taking care of things, I want to get to Dylan Brown from Ocean Alliance Project. Like we had talked about earlier today when we were on the morning show, this affects us all, whether or not you're a diver, whether or not you're a surfer. And I want to talk a little bit about the coral specifically, how some of this debris impacts that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that corals are the backbone of our reefs, right? Over thousands and thousands of years, we've had corals that grow and die that now leave us with what we have now as our beautiful coral reefs. And when you have these things coming in like plastic bags, like net, fishing line, or even some of your big ticket items like tires, what that eventually leads to is that those corals aren't going to be in that healthy status anymore. If you get a plastic bag that wraps around a coral, it can't photosynthesize, it can't grow, and now all of the other organisms that rely on it aren't going to be able to thrive as well. And so this kind of localized effort where we have one small reef, we have a few corals here, a lot of fish that are in this zone, there's a way that all of us can give back, whether that's diving, using scuba, or just people on land support. All of us can be in this effort.
And at least coming down and educating yourself too would be a big help, I'm sure. So we want to thank Michelle and Dylan with us from Ocean Alliance Project, and Michelle, who's kind of helping to organize all these different groups coming together. Like you said, Boy Scout troops, a lot of the dive shops. We want to all of them for pitching in. And if you want to be a part of that land effort, of course, a lot of the folks that are going to be in the water are scuba certified. They have their gear. But if you want to help out on land, plenty of opportunity to do that. Again, it's all happening on Saturday, April 26th, right here at Magic Island. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Great event. It's crazy, some of the things that end up in the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like looking at some of the video, like the mattress that they're pulling out of the water, that's insane.
All right, so get out there and help if you can. Thanks for watching This Is Now, everyone. More news first at 4 right here on KCHNL.